lovely people, and welcome to Gem's house and my channel. This is the first we're doing a little collab, so they're all going to be about work and disability. This is going to be a kind of spilling the tea, gossiping about spilling the tea. It's not actually something I say, but I saw it on the internet. Gossiping all about the bad working situations we found ourselves in before. And then part 2 will be on Gem's channel, which will have some actual good advice about working with a disability. So let's begin with a little explanation, a tiny explanation, a brief explanation about what our disabilities are.
Okay, mine I can really wrap up in a little nutshell.
Go. I'm always impressed if people can do that.
So, when I was 9, I had major heart surgery that went just a little bit wrong. I suffered major internal bleeding, and as a result of the internal bleeding and lack of oxygen, I suffered a T10 incomplete spinal cord injury. So I use a wheelchair to get about.
That was neat. I have two genetic disabilities, one which affects my nerves and the other which affects my muscles, and they have various symptoms, including I dislocate constantly, chronic pain, chronic fatigue, and death. What was your first ever job?
Okay, so my first ever job, I have actually worked from the age of 16, and I worked at my local newsagents just down the road every Sunday.
You said that like it was so bad.
Because it was. Yeah, it was really tiny and pokey, but I just about managed, and I couldn't go to the toilet. I only did 4 hours there, so I was like,
holding it in.
When I turned 17, I also had a job on a checkout, and that was every Saturday.
How dare they make you work on a Saturday?
But on the Tuesday was student night, so every Wednesday I had to work, so I was hungover. And then every Friday was rock night, and then I'd have to go to work on the Saturday hungover.
So you always went to work hungover?
Yeah, and then every Saturday was another rock night at another club, so I'd have to go to my other job hungover. Yeah, so I
feel like any working problems you had in that moment is nothing to do with disability, more to do with alcohol.
Yes. So those were those jobs, and it was not too bad. Then I got more of an office role. I sort of grew up a bit, and they were fantastic for quite a long period of time. I found the hours got too much at one point, so they offered to reduce the hours, which was really nice of them. They changed the hours as well so that they were more manageable, so I didn't have to be in at like 7:30 in the morning. I could be in like at 9. Guys from the loading bay would come and help me in and out of the building because there'd be fire doors. There wasn't a proper lift, it was a goods lift.
My sixth form I was in a wheelchair at the time for about a year I think, and they had a lift because they legally had to have a lift, but they didn't legally have to turn the lift on, and it was an energy drain, so they never turned it on. And I had classes upstairs, so they just had to get the strongest people from my class to lift my wheelchair up the stairs with me in it.
So they were really, really good in some senses of the word.
Now get to the bad stuff. Come on.
Get to the I'm sorry.
That's what we're here for.
One day, I had the most amazing manager, and he was obviously headhunted and had to go off. Then we had not such a good manager. We were all having water at our desks, water at our workstations, and then a thing came in where it all had to be labelled with your name, and it had to be labelled water in case anybody drank something and it was
vodka. Who was keeping like a bottle of straight vodka at their desk?
Yeah, that was that. And then all of a sudden there was this big sort of rule that came in that unless you had a note from your doctor saying that you needed water and you couldn't wait for your break, you weren't allowed water.
What? Oh my god, Clara's dying! Clara's dying in the corner.
Do you know what, darling?
Yeah.
Because they said, oh, you can go and get a drink of water, but you'd have to go and get it, drink it in the canteen, and then come back to your desk. So I'd have to go through 4 fire doors that's just getting there. So that's 8 fire doors. Then they said, oh, well, you can call one of the members from the loading bay and they'll come and open the doors for you. And I said, don't you think they've got something better to do?
Like
They're
their
short-staffed anyway. So then they said, well, just get a doctor's note. It's the principal. First of all,
she's not doing it, okay?
First of all-
principle.
First of all, I don't want to waste my doctor's time. You can see that it's difficult for me to go and get water. You know, they could just be like, yeah, this is the rule, but why don't you just keep, you know,
You're
keep
the
your bottle.
exception for a super obvious reason.
But that was one of the final things that made me think that this is not working. It's sort of where I worked sort of just went down and down and down.
I see. I have had, prior to the job I currently have as a YouTuber, which always sounds weird, I'm self-employed, freelance, I do what I do, I make my own rules now, which is lovely. But my previous 2 jobs, one of them, I was 13. I worked there for, I was a waitress in a cafe when I was 13. It was owned by my mother's friend. I worked there for 3 days. I got fired at the end of every day.
You didn't get the hint.
Every day.
On the back.
I trip over when I'm just walking in bare feet around my house. I'm not a great candidate for people who should be holding plates.
Oh,
I don't
God.
hold my own plates. My mother had been a waitress when she was a teenager before she went to university. So she's one of those people who can like pull the plates.
Oh
in her
no,
arms.
how do they do that? It's like,
Sure, so she thought that magically I would genetically have this skill. So she said to her friend, like, it'll be fine. Jessica will be great with the plate. So I went, my first day, I have quite bad hearing loss. So I was taking people's orders, but I wasn't. Sounded vaguely like eggs. Yeah. I feel like, by the looks of this guy, he wants soup. He seems cold. And I tried to get other people to take my stuff out that I had incorrectly ordered. So I got fired. My mother phoned her up and was like, please just take her back. It's the summer holidays. She'll be fine. She'll be better. She promises. She'll ask people 6 times what it is they're saying. Second day, I poured soup down a man. Got fired. And my mother was like, this is freaking ridiculous. But she phoned up her friend again and was like, she's really sorry. She's gonna wear better shoes tomorrow. I guess my mother had something on her. It was probably some form of blackmail, I'm not sure. But this lady took me back. Why? And then on the 3rd day, during my break, I stood on a bee. And I'm highly allergic to bees.
Are
Yeah, I
you?
took my shoes off. My foot swelled up to the size of a football. And I couldn't really fit it back in my shoe. And I limped over to the lady and I was like, I can't work the rest of the day because I can't stand. And she was like, no, you will work till the end of this day and then I'm firing you. But I refuse to pay you for this morning that you've worked unless you work to the end of the day. So I kept going because I did. And so I hobbled around all afternoon, tears streaming because I couldn't stop them because it hurt so much. So I'm essentially like hopping. No one got a good looking plate of food that day. Because I was crying and I looked really sweet. Like I was very blonde as well. I think that helped. So I had this long blonde hair. I had like tears trickling down. I think I was probably dressed in something quite sweet. And people took a lot of pity on me. And boy, did I make some good tips. I think
Did
I made,
you?
Yeah. Yeah, I was getting paid £2 an hour by this lady. But I made £30 in tips that afternoon. So, yeah, I got fired. When I was in university, I set up the university's first television station, but it was online. It was about 3 people doing all the work and it needed probably 50 people. But then a local TV station kind of saw what we were attempting to do, thought it was great and offered me a job. Yay, a job! So for my last year at university, I worked with them. I didn't get paid. And then after university, I just walked straight into the job that I'd already been doing with them, but they paid me a tiny, tiny amount. Not the best job that I could possibly have. I only ended up working with them for a year and a half, I think, for a number of reasons, but they weren't top on accessibility, which is great. The amount of time that I spend on crutches, in a wheelchair, blah, 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 and their only toilet was upstairs. They also there was no ramp onto the stage. There was a ramp to get into the building, but it was such a kerfuffle. They had to go and get it from somewhere, they had to pull it out. They also weren't brilliant when it came to accessibility in terms of deafness, because everyone who was on stage was supposed to wear this earpiece so that we could hear what was going on in the TriCaster, where they'd be controlling all the different cameras. Normally, you would have a floor manager, but they were very cheap and they didn't want to hire a floor manager. And it was just a hot mess. and I got very confused by all of these different things going on.
Oh my gosh.
So that wasn't great. I think the main thing actually that made me think this is just not for me is that they had a really strict schedule time, and I got a slot every week, and I had to film like 5 different programs because I was doing 5 programs for them, and if I couldn't make that slot, that was it. So my condition's very episodic, and some mornings I wake up and I just vomit for 24 hours. So if that happened that morning, boom, done. That was it. It's like, but what? Why are you even giving me a slot in the morning when I told you that I can only do the afternoon? Generally better in the afternoon than I am first thing in the morning. They were like, nope, it's the only slot.
Did you ever find that sometimes they would do things to suit themselves?
Oh yeah.
Like one day it might be alright for you to come in at 2 o'clock if...
Yeah.
And then, I always found that with my last employer. They would change some things to suit themselves.
I always just had this feeling that I was this massive annoyance. But I think also the problem is that as disabled people, we are so grateful for jobs. And then you're just like, please, I don't want to lose this job. You understand, being disabled is really expensive. I'm just so thankful that you have taken me despite my disabilities, which is so bad, and we're going to talk about in the other video. Yeah. Being too grateful is just not a good idea.
Yeah.
We are excellent, and they should be grateful they have us.
Yes.
Well, obviously we both have physical disabilities, so we would love to know in the comments down below whether you have a physical disability, a mental health problem, or any other kind of thing that's holding you back from work. Please let us know down below, what is your worst experience of work? I ruddy love stories. I do get really angry.
So do I.
But like inside, it's a tiny angry flame. We're about to make another video that will be on Gem's channel. The link will be in the description down below, where you can go and find out actual tips, actual helpful tips that we have put together, all about finding a job, keeping a job while you're being in work with a disability. Gem is lovely. You should go and follow her channel. She has loads of stuff all about life with a disability. You do hacks as well.
I do, yeah, we've got a lot of fashion going on over there. I'm really excited. I've got my autumn fashion video coming up.
Thank you so much for joining us. See you very soon on Gem's channel. Boom!